Here we go. Here we go. New Flash. We got a friend of the show. Hasn't been on in a while. JD. How you
What's
doing,
up,
JD?
man? What's up, everybody? What's up, Joe? Happy to be back. Sorry it's been a while.
Yeah, man, we've been trying to get you on, and it's funny the one time we actually got you, Jeremy can't do it.
You
So
needed a replacement. I came, through the window. Here I am.
so JD's filling in for Jeremy. Jeremy had one thing he wanted me to bring up. We could probably start with that before we get into Flash. He let's see what he said. He just wants you to know that Immortal Thor is the best title going right now.
Oh my God, Thor. It'll never happen for me. Thor and Venom are like my two books that I just think I'll never get into. That cover is fucking sick, though. I will say that.
Is that Alex Ross?
Yeah, and it's going to the old Journey to Mystery. That's cool. But
Yeah, and it'd be
I mean,
all.
I've heard about this. Like Hunter has mentioned it. Like it seems cool. However,
Yeah, I mean, I was reading Donny Cates' Thor, and when he stopped, well, he had that whole accident and all that. When he
yeah.
stopped, I kind of was done. I think I always told you I was like, when Donny Cates is done, I think I'm done with Thor for a while. But maybe that'll be something I'll binge. But
Right.
let's jump into Flash. Um, so we got a new artist, Ramon Perez.
Terrible. Ugh. That that
the
that
sl-
ugh. It hurts the
really
eye.
the slander already.
That listen, I can't draw a stick figure to save my life, so maybe I shouldn't be critical of art. However, going from Diodato for the first six issues to this, I was just like, ugh. That first page too, especially, it really hits you. Like the second panel of the book is Impulse, and he looks like a man's head, but like a child's body, and yeah,
I like
it
the
was.
cover.
I
Cover
like the
looks good.
cover. The cover was good. It's the same artist on the cover, but the
Yeah,
insides, there were some interesting looking panels. I think Jeremy called Barry the Giga Chad.
yeah, yep. I saw that.
That's he had some interesting. I don't know.
Now, you and I we've talked about it briefly, but like, do you feel like a lot of the characters in this book have been written kind of out of character?
So this book, I feel like, is almost written in like a Tom King sense, where it's like using a lot of words to get to the same thing, like where it used like the dot dots and the ums and the O's and the where was I going with like the way that Tom King kind of writes dialogue sometimes. So I think he's kind of going for that, and it kind of makes some of these characters come off as a little weird. Like the page with Linda in this book, I was just like, that was strange.
Yeah, like there was a point where she was like looking out the window, and then she said something weird, and then looked
Yeah,
back. It
like
was like,
yeah, like
and
like that felt like a Tom King book, like busy, 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 and then just looking out the window. It was strange.
and like they don't really pick up with Barry and Linda, like because Barry's like, what's up with Wally? Like, where's Wally? What's going on? And Linda's just like, oh, he's a superhero. He'll deal with it. It's just super like just weird. It's like,
Right,
and like the fact that it's not revisited in the issue,
right.
I'm kind of like, we have to wait a whole month to find out. That's the one thing I don't like about Flash being monthly is like the wait is I'm just like, oh my god, I just want to know what's going to happen next.
I mean, the last time it was bi-weekly, that was like Rebirth era, right? Like it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
it's been a while. I miss those days, but
Yeah.
um, wonder. Me and Jeremy have been talking the last few weeks about how layered this book has been. Um, and it's weird because they kind of explain Wally's new ability is kind of shifting through different layers of reality. Which is kind of weird because it's like I think Spurrier is trying to be kind of meta in that sense. Like
Right.
there's a lot going on, a lot of layers.
Right.
What's your take on that? What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely feels like, there's a lot of like high concepts. There's a lot of like, there's a lot going on with this book. Like I said to you yesterday when we spoke, like, you would never recommend someone to start with this Flash book, like, or even someone who has like basic Flash knowledge. You would be like, oh, yeah, definitely read this book. Like, that's a kind of a weird thing to say about like the main Flash title, right? Like, I wouldn't recommend someone who's new slash newish to get on because typically, not that everything needs to be new reader friendly, but like typically the point of your book is to draw new readers in, right? And make people love the character. So it's definitely a strange way to write the book, and not that even that it's bad, because I think it does have interesting concepts. Like there's a lot of interesting high concepts, but it feels like when are we going to get to the meat of it? You're giving me a lot of the sides, but like I want to get to the main point of it. And we're 7 issues in now, 7 months in, and it's like, okay, where is this going?
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but like I'm kind of getting a little confused because of all these high concepts, like time point. Is that where Wally is? Like I'm
Right,
kind of
right. When
it's
Wally's
all
in
over
like
the
the
place.
place with the statues, and then Max and Bart are like in this other room, and I'm like, is this in the same area? Or because then Wally like appears at the end, and I'm like, I don't understand like where this is all happening, and it does have its moments of being like rather confusing.
Yeah, and then Max is calling it something else. I think he called it like Ictu, like Icto or something. Like
Right.
it kind of explained. I read it again today, and he kind of explained it like it's in between TikTok, like which I was like, that's pretty cool. Like
Yeah, and
that's
like
pretty
that
neat.
place like all the where they showed like all the people,
Yeah.
and
Um,
Gold Beetle was in there, and you see like Godspeed's in there, and there's some people that we don't know.
the thing that like I like about what Spurrier is doing is he's kind of continuing what Jeremy set up. Jeremy Adams, friend of the show. Um, which was funny. It was cool. Like for those that listen, like I kind of was telling Jeremy like, oh yeah, like Spurrier's kind of taken up some of the stuff you kind of went with, which he was pretty surprised by.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think about Inspector Pilgrim and like where that's going?
I mean, I feel like it's the setup that it's going to be Jai West. Obviously, there's a reason they're not showing the face, but
Yeah,
it feels like that's where he's been setting Jai West to go. And I think I'll give Spurrier a lot of credit where he's actually trying to do something interesting with Jai West. And I've said for years now that like if they made him like kind of like a non-speedster role, like a non-hero role, I think there could be an interesting story. Not necessarily that it has to be like a full villain, but like maybe he's kind of like used by a villain in the sense of like he's has a connection to the Flash family, but he's not like in the Flash family. I think
yeah,
years ago someone had said on like Reddit or something like that, like let him be like the curator of the Flash Museum, like let him be like the like the guy who runs all that, and like maybe that's how he gets like used against the Flash family. So I feel like he's at least trying to do something interesting with him. But yeah, I think that the inspector is going to end up being Jai West, and that's
it's
why they have.
weird. It's strange though because like I've been thinking about him, the Inspector Pilgrim, and just the things that's been said. There earlier on, I think it might have been issue 1 or 2. It showed Wally holding Wade, the new baby,
Mhm.
and looking out the window and seeing the silhouette, which eventually was Pilgrim.
Right.
And I'm like, I was thinking about that, and then I'm just thinking about like just some of the stuff that he said. He had that moment with Jai, just talking to him.
Right.
Um, and then he talks about Gold Beetle, like, oh, like she's kind of family. So like that kind of threw me off because like I don't know if this was said in Jeremy Adams' run, but like was
That
it
giant
implied?
that giant gold beetle would be married one day.
Yeah, was that said or was that implied? I couldn't remember.
That
I was trying
that,
to
that
think.
was that was like something that like I think Gold Beetle said to Wally, and Wally was like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, it hasn't happened yet."
Huh.
So, so I think that was like the theory that like eventually one day they would be together,
Yeah. Um
even though it wasn't like the last issue. Like Jai was going on a date with Maxine,
yeah,
or 2 issues ago.
yeah. I don't know. That honestly though, like Pilgrim, that's like the thing that I'm the most interested in. I was also thinking the way he explained his powers are very similar to like Hunter Zolomon, Zoom.
Yeah.
Just talking about time and how he kind of is like going forward and backwards. Like
Right.
he's a,
Right.
he's a
Kind of like
speedster, but not necessarily.
right.
Um, what do you think about that? Like I don't know that I was just thinking like, oh, are they trying to kind of connect those two? Because I know we're well,
Yeah, I mean that's interesting, and that's like kind of because obviously Jai is not like a traditional speedster anyway. So
mm,
obviously you have to explain his powers as kind of different, regardless. So yeah, no, I think that's interesting.
I I don't know if you listened to the last time that Jeremy and I talked, but ComicJerm, not Jeremy Adams. Gonna
Yeah.
get those confused. But you know how at 800 it revealed that Hunter was coming back,
Yeah.
but then in I think the last issue,
It was
it
the
said something.
AFR.
Yeah, so like I'm kind of wondering like what's going on. Like I'm a little.
Right. And the cover for the next issue is like the reverse flash like logo.
Yeah, so I don't
And
know.
yeah.
Um,
Oh great, we got the same artist on this next one that we had on this one.
I think he's on for the next couple.
Ugh.
There
Like
was
who's
only
in the
really that panel. There was that one Bart panel there. I thought the
yeah.
rest of the art was pretty good. Oh, Otto Schmidt.
Oh, some Nightwing Pierce. Yeah. What do you think
Funny, I
of
don't get
Barry
his
going
move.
into like Mr. Terrific's office and just like literally like blowing things up over there and like trying to get Pied Piper to admit that he did it. You did this, admit it, you recidivist. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just weird.
Like
That's what I mean. Like everyone's written like
like didn't that feel
out of
really
character.
out of character for Barry? And
Yeah,
before Pied Piper could even explain, all because Linda said that she heard like the ringing, and then all of a sudden he's like literally attacking Pied Piper and liar, you're a liar. Like that doesn't really feel like Barry.
oh, now that I'm thinking, Linda said something like, "Oh, I can hear the pipes better."
Yeah,
So then he goes to see Pied Piper after that. It's just
right.
strange. I didn't connect those.
Yeah, no, like clearly there's something wrong with Linda. Like she's not normal. Like the way she's talking and like the way she's kind of been in like a daze. Like, and that's the way she even looked in this issue. Like I don't know if that was purposeful, but she just looked like she was like almost on like a loop. Like she was stuck in like that. Where she is.
Yeah,
But yeah, I hear the pipes so much clearer when he's not here. And then Barry says pipes, and then that's when he goes to attack Pied Piper. But it's just weird that he would attack Pied Piper instead of like trying to talk to him. I don't know.
yeah. It's
Like, when's
this.
the last time Pied Piper's been like a bad guy?
It's been a while.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
even though Pied Piper's more of Wally's friend, you think Barry would have like at least a decent relationship. Strange.
well, and that's the thing. Like I don't know if you've listened to any interviews with Cy Spurrier, but like he's not a big Flash fan like you and me. So like I don't think he would. Because like if I was gonna write Barry, I would like to kind of write it in the sense of like he still doesn't know everything that's gone on. Like he's
Right.
still not he wasn't there. You know what I mean? So like as much as he's been even though he's been back for a while as the Flash and like the continuity's kind of gelled together, I like to think like there's still a lot of stuff that like Barry's kind of like, wait, what?
Right. I just feel
It's
like he's been back for years. Like I think he knows the Pied Piper. Like I'd have to think about it, but I feel like even in Williamson's run, like they had interaction with Pied Piper. No.
yeah, what's just odd is just like I feel like we're in a weird spot where New 52 to Rebirth and then like pre New 52 is matched together in a really weird way. And I
Yeah.
feel like the Flash stuff, it's kind of getting hard to like kind of remember like, wait, is this person evil? Is it like even like the stuff in Adam's run with like the Warden? I remember I was just like, what are we
Right,
doing
because
here?
it's like kind of connecting to like Jeff's run where he was like kind of like he had the powers and he was kind of like fucked up.
Yeah, because I felt like Adam's run was kind of like a spiritual kind of successor in a way
To
to like
Jeff, like
Jeff's
post,
run.
yeah, like post Wild West, post like 225.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's just strange. Like the continuity with Flash is all over the place right now.
yeah,
Um, it's weird. Like when it comes to like stuff with like Barry, Wally, the kids, all that, I can
yeah,
follow it. But it just seems like all the secondary players, I'm like, where
yeah.
do they stand?
Right. And then like when Piper, Mr. Terrific and Barry are talking about like this new like they're showing like the pattern, like Mr. Terrific says that he's been tracking Wally and he's like, well, where is he? And they can't find him because he's somewhere in the Speed Force. And like, all right, I kind of like the Speed Force, like more of a mystery, like that's good stuff. But then like I kind of like zone out a little bit, like when they're talking about, like some of like he for example, Harley goes, I call it the Spectreverse. There are either 10, 11, or 26 discrete frequencies. We haven't decided yet. Like that's where you lose me completely.
Yeah, I had to read that like 2 or 3 times.
And,
And
and like and like what I'll say about like I think the approach that like Barry is like the sciencey version of the Flash in terms of the Speed Force, and Wally's more of like the spiritual, like kind of understanding the mystery of the Speed Force. Like I do like that approach, but like I feel like there's a better way to write Barry than that. Like instead of saying like the numbers and stuff like that,
yeah,
like I'd rather it be more so, like in the Silver Age, because you've read some Silver Age issues. When they do like a sciencey explanation, it's usually like a very simple blurb of like explaining like why something is, right? Like for when Flash like runs through something, it'll like give an explanation of like how hay can go through wood in the tornado because of the ultimate speed that goes through like the physics. Like the basic explanation. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like this is where you lose me. Like I need basic explanations, not like,
yeah.
either 10, 11, or 26 discrete frequencies. Like that's, you lost me.
I would
But
almost prefer if it was like a different thing. I don't really like how it's connected to the Speed Force because I kind of part of me almost kind of likes how ambiguous it is. Like,
right, like the Speed Force should pretty much always be a mystery, should always be that kind of
yeah, yeah, like because I feel like you're doing a lot of concepts that like just saying if I was a writer and say I was gonna write after Spurrier, I don't know if I would touch this stuff because I don't really fully understand them. You know what I
right.
mean? And I
Right. And
think
that kind
like
of rule of thumb, if I
Flash is
don't
the
understand
best.
something, I don't want to write about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of willing to just kind of you know stay on the ride, just see where it goes. And this is definitely like a run that I'm like I want to binge read because I think I'll understand it
Yeah, it
more.
would go better. But yeah, like so Inspector calls the Speed Force the deep change. To anyone who has an
Yeah,
active relationship with the deep change. And even Bart's like, what? And then Max explains that he means the Speed Force. And he says that they're not dead, they're extra temporal. So I'm like, I don't really understand that. Like, are these all speedsters that are stuck in the Speed Force? Like, okay, that explains like
yeah.
Godspeed, I guess, but why is like Gold Beetle in there? And who the hell are all these other people?
Oh, I know. Yeah,
So, like,
I
so like, there's definitely some questions to be had there. But yeah, and then he basically attacks Max and Bart at the end, like that he's arresting them. Like, is he going to be sending them in? So then I'm wondering, is this inspector trapping all these people in there? Like, is he the reason that all these speedsters are stuck in there? Because that could be interesting.
yeah, I think depending on where he goes with it, I think the stuff with Pilgrim is definitely going to be like the most interesting because like it's still so unclear. Is this a ally? Is this an enemy? And I like that because it's like it's kind of keeping you on your toes.
Right.
And I think it's got a pretty cool design too. It's just different, you know.
Right. I mean, basically, he says that like we're locking up these speedsters because you guys are messing with reality. And he said, if there's a way to save reality without murdering every speedster, I promise I'll find it. So he's basically putting them all on hold. Like I need to hold you guys here until I can figure out the answer. Like okay. And he says, until then, I guess you just gotta have faith. The universe provides. So he repeats the universe provides, which is the same thing for Max, which I guess could make it seem more likely that it is someone like Jai, someone that we know because he knows that Max has said that before.
Yeah,
Like clearly he must know Max to some degree if he repeats his statement, right? The universe provides because Max says that in the beginning of the issue. But yeah,
yeah,
then the ending I was a little confused with. So while he's at the the statues of the gallery and the one like ghosty type thing is talking to him and says they bring up the archangel or the archangel, which was brought up by the pilgrim. So I'm sorry, by Inspector. So I'm a little confused, like at the end there with that man. I'm assuming we're gonna start with that next issue, but
mm, yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I just feel like every issue, it's just so many questions, really. And I
yeah,
feel like I don't know if you feel this way. I don't know if you read this twice, but I feel like I got to read every issue twice when
yeah.
it
I mean,
comes.
I haven't been reading them twice, but like I'll watch your video, like when Jeremy pulling out, and it kind of makes me think a little bit more about each issue. I'm like, oh, okay, right, that did happen. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think you said it best. Like, we're kind of gonna look back, like, when you're able to read it all together, and you're gonna get a better sense of the story of like, oh, okay, like that made more sense, when I was able to read it all together. The month to month stuff can be a little tough.
I
But
don't think Spurrier is. You know how like you say like writers are writing for the trade, like 6 issues, like this is an arc. I feel
right,
like Spurrier is like writing for like the omnibus or something, because like
right,
I just think of like the first 6 issues. I just couldn't imagine like just giving that to someone and just being like, read this, because it's like you're gonna walk away more confused than anything. It's
right,
like, wait, because it didn't like have like an ending per se. It kind of just was like, we're just gonna keep going.
right, and just continue on, which I like. Like, I don't, when you're reading month to month, you don't really want them to read for you don't really
The
want them to
trade.
read the trade. So it is nice to like feel like the story continues on. It's not just every 6 issues, but yeah,
Hmm.
I'm curious to see where it's going to be going.
This might be a hot take, but I would almost prefer that telling stories like this in a run like this to not use Flash family members. Like
But then,
just kind of keep it more like I wish that it was just Wally and like Barry and like Wally's family, like the kids and
I don't mind throwing in Max and Bart because I think that Max is obviously the Speed Force guy. So if anything's going to be wrong with the Speed Force, like he's going to be in the center of it. And then Bart and Max go hand in hand. So I don't mind having them in there. I think it's good additions. It'll
I
be curious to see because now we just introduce all these other speedsters that are like stuck in the stasis there. Like, are they going to be part of this? Or are they just going to be lost? Like, is Godspeed going to be coming back from this? Is Gold Beetle going to be
yeah,
part of this? Like that. That's where I'd be curious what they're going to do with it. But
I just don't like the jumping around. Like I don't like where it's like, all right, we're with Barry, we're with Wally, then we're with Max and
yeah,
Bart. It's
I
like
mean,
I
I feel like in the modern age though, that's probably the best way to tell a Flash story because you want to see your Flash characters appear. And that's kind of the way to I think appeal to a bigger fan base, a wider fan base of like, hey, this story's got Barry and it's got Wally and it's got Max and it's got Bart. I think more people you could be interested of like, okay, I like this character, but I'm not crazy about this character, but I'm gonna read it because this character's in it.
Yeah, I just mean like with these high concept kind of story, like a story like this, if it was more grounded and like they were doing kind of more, street level kind of stuff,
Right.
I'm okay with jumping around. But like when it's a lot of high concept things being thrown around, it's like I wish we would kind of just stay with one character for
Right.
it. Does that make sense?
Right. No, I get that.
I mean, I feel like I don't know. I feel like as time has gone by, I've just become like a Flash family hater for some reason, which I'm not.
You
I
are.
love
You
Flash
are.
family.
100%.
Like I'm like, nope, no second Flash book, no this, no that. It's like I
You
don't want to
definitely,
be because
you
I
definitely
don't
are.
want to be.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
I guess I don't know. We're picky, or at least I am picky. But
yeah.
um, do you notice Godspeed was at the last page? There's a
Yeah.
statue of
Well,
him.
well, and he was in the stasis too.
Yeah. You know what? I want to bring this up. I don't think Jeremy and I have talked about it in a while, but Mr. Terrific. Like it's weird. Like he is in league with Pilgrim, and I'm like, why? That's kind of been like the looming thing. They kind of addressed it a little bit in this. Like he's
Right.
like, oh, I've known about Wally's situation for a while, like a lot longer than he'd realize. But like
Right. Like
that's the thing.
he's
Like
been tracking Wally and he's been tracking all his employees apparently. And it's like, well, why is he doing that?
yeah, so I'm like, what's going on with Mr. Terrific, and like why is he working with Pilgrim?
Right.
And I'm starting to like that's another reason why I think it could be Jai is just because like why else would Terrific work with him if it was like I'm Wally's son from the future. I know what's going to happen. You need to help me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely possible.
Um, does this still bother you? I mean, like not to. I mean, I know Jeremy Adams is our boy, but like Wade West, I wish it was just spelled like Waid. I know it's like kind of a weird spelling for a first name, but
It doesn't matter to me. It's like you get.
yeah,
I mean, it's like how Jai is Jai. Like I've never met anybody named Jai, but it is. It
yeah,
is. It's fine.
you're right. That's just nitpicking, but
Yeah, I mean, you're the
uh,
nitpicker, like what's the
I'm
flashes.
the nitpicker, I guess. But
What are
so
the reviews
overall,
on this app? Like, are people liking this? Are people like into it?
yeah, I wanted to go through that just because I
Yeah.
love sci-fi,
Nothing
science
is seriously
fiction.
wrong with Bart's face, 100%. I noticed that.
Yeah, very good. The pieces are falling into place. Also, although I like this new art, the old one had a much scarier look, which I agree. The characters seem much simpler now. Yeah, that there's like the uncoiled. They didn't even look the same. They look very
Right.
different. Um, it's maybe one of the few times where the new art has really thrown me off and made it feel like a new book. Although I needed to reread some parts, the story is really good.
So people feel kind of similar to us.
Yeah, I understand a lot of people dropped off the book because they felt it was confusing or the art didn't work for them. I understand that, but as far as I've seen, each subsequent issue of the book has added new dimension to prior issues. Once you get in the rhythm of this comic, you have a great read. What else did I say? I found the art a little cartoonish in this issue, not bad, but a shift to a more pliable direction. I don't know if I like it. Bart with the bug eyes works in books like Young Justice 98, but the topic gradually inches toward seriousness, like it does here. Contrast and less favorable way. Yeah, I mean, it seems it's been pretty favorable.
Yeah. So a lot of the reviews are pretty similar on this kind of thing.
Yeah,
I was just curious if anybody was like, "Oh, this book sucks." Like this is invincible. It seems like everybody's like pretty okay with it.
yeah, pretty positive. I actually wanted to sometimes like the 1 star reviews or the zero. I get a kick out of those because it's just like, whoa, you just really you had to feel that strongly about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing maybe some people like if you made it that far,
Yeah,
I was considered dropping off the series. Like if you made it this far, like you're probably staying on the series. If you would have dropped, you probably would have dropped in the first five.
yeah. I'm always
Yeah.
curious. Like, I'll ask Jeremy, like, how's this book selling? And I mean, on this site, League of Comic Geeks,
Yeah.
I think it goes by whatever's selling the best.
Okay.
Could be wrong. So Flash was,
Second row, like what was that
yeah.
six?
I mean,
Right?
not bad considering like the other stuff that came out.
Yeah, I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man is
Spider.
obviously gonna be the king, and
I haven't been reading Detective in a while. It's kind of it, it's a lot of long-term storytelling. Like it's definitely like something I'd have to binge. I stopped reading it just because it was
come
like
on,
I
man,
need to.
Detective is your book.
I know. I was a dude. I was reading Detective when Tom King was writing Batman.
Yeah,
I was just like, this is my Batman book right now. I remember the people at my shop were like, "You're crazy," and I was just like, "No, it's just better."
yeah.
But um, what else are you reading right now? Just to kind of,
Uh, Superman, World's Finest, Green Lantern. I dropped off Shazam because Wade's off. Um,
do you feel kind of robbed a little bit, or
I just feel like I thought he was gonna go a little longer in the book. I enjoy what he
yeah,
wrote. Obviously, very short. It seems to be the curse of Shazam. Nobody could stay on
yeah?
it. What else am I reading? Nightwing, Titans, and then I read the three Ghost Machine books this week.
What was
So
your favorite of the Ghost Machine? Redcoat.
probably Redcoat. I mean, I like Geiger's just like continue where the last one left off. Like it's still really good. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm hopeful on all three. I think Rook is another one with kind of high concepts, sci-fi, like it's a lot to get onto, but I think that it could be good. It's just it's one issue. It's a lot to take in,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I'm excited for it because it's Jason Fabok, but like if it wasn't Jason Fabok, I don't know if I would read it.
I'm actually shocked that you
Um,
like Redcoat, given that it's Brian Hitch. I know you're never ending war with Brian Hitch.
well, you know something, the art, I gotta be honest, I think it's some of the best Brian Hitch I've seen in
I
years.
said this. We did a hero story yesterday, and I said that like I don't know if like Hitch really took his time on this or something. This is some of the best Hitch I've seen in years. And I said part of it maybe is because like when I read the Geiger 80-page special the other day or a few weeks ago, it said like Redcoat coming 2022. So maybe because this book was supposed to be out 2 years ago, he's had a lot of time to like really perfect his stuff. But yeah, I thought
Mm.
this I thought the art was great in Redcoat. All the
Yeah.
art was great across the board between Geiger, Rook, and Redcoat.
I feel like Jeff Johns, I'll follow him into battle. Like when it comes to any of like his like independent stuff, because like I love Geiger, I loved Redcoat. I actually forgot that he was writing Rook. For some reason, I thought Fabok was writing and drawing.
Yeah, no, he's Jeff's writing all three.
Yeah. And
It should be
I
interesting
might,
delay wise because they said they're gonna try not to delay, but
yeah, I'm curious how it's gonna go. I'm like, because like people like Gary Frank, Fabok, like they got a lot of high rendered artwork. So like I'm just wondering like how are they gonna keep this up?
right. At some point, like you're probably not gonna be able to keep making it monthly with those guys. And I said like, yesterday on the podcast, I'm like, it's not gonna feel the same if like you go from like Gary Frank to some other artist or you go from Jason Fabok to some other artist. Like those aren't guys you could exactly replicate. So
You know what I was thinking like before, because now Ivan Reese is at Ghost Machine and he's doing Hyde Street with
yeah,
Jeff, which I might check that out. But I was thinking for a while, I was like, man, if they're gonna put a secondary artist on Geiger, they should get Ivan Reese.
yeah. I mean, I just but I want it to be consistent throughout. Like there's something special
Right.
when the same artist stays on. Like Walking Dead has like the same artist the whole run. Invincible and Ultimate Spider-Man, like those kind of books, like that become legendary all-time books, are because they have like at least partly, and obviously great writing, but like the same artist, consistent art.
Yeah. I don't get physicals anymore. I just do digital, but I really like this cover a lot.
Yeah, yeah. No, Geiger was really good, and obviously continuing on. Obviously, you already know the most about that one because you had the 6-issue book, the 2-issue prequel, and then now
Yeah.
going into ongoing. But it'd be curious. I think a year from now we're kind of going to be looking like it's going to be the make or break for Ghost Machine. Like did they make it? I'm just worried that they announced too many books at once. Like you saw at the end of at the book, it announced like everything that's coming. It's like
Yeah.
when you're doing like 3 books, I'll read. I'll read all three. You start doing like
Mm.
8, 9 books. I don't know if I'm reading 8, 9 books. That's a lot.
I know. I was thinking about it today. I was like, I'm all in on Ghost Machine, but like, man, like I'm reading too many books now because it just keeps adding up. But if
Right?
they're,
Like
I mean, as long as they're all good books, like I don't have a problem with it.
yeah, yeah,
But I kind of like how we turned to just talking about all comics. I feel like that's what me and Jeremy did last time. We just were
yeah.
talking
I
about
mean,
all
it's cool.
comics.
Like the Flash is one thing, but there's other comics to talk about as well. But
But like Flash, that's like what we care about the most. Like that's always like our
right,
our book.
right.
That's the book why you and I are good friends.
Of
We've
course.
always bonded
From the
over it.
beginning. Yeah.
You're not reading Batman right now.
No, I dropped Batman after the issue 900. I just was like, "Yep, you lost me."
It's weird how like I feel like, and I've said this to you before. Like I think Jorge must be contributing somewhat to the story. I think he must have some kind of pull
Mhm.
because it seems like when he's on the art, it's not just the art that's really good; it's the story's really good
Right, the
too.
writing was better, but when he's
So I don't
off,
know.
it's good.
I I don't know if it's just because like Chip Zdarsky's like, oh, I'm waiting to do this because of Jorge or whatever's going on, but like
Right,
it just seems like whenever Jorge is on, it's a good issue, which is exciting. But he's like he'll be on for an arc and then he'll leave and then he comes.
right.
Um, it, Batman. The last few issues have been pretty good, but I get it. Like I don't know.
Listen, if it ends up being great one day, I'll catch up on DC Universe Infinite. But I really don't feel like I've missed much other than not spending hella money. Like I dropped it. What it didn't really feel like 11 issues ago that I dropped it, but it randomly doesn't go monthly anymore. Like it'll be like bi-weekly or weekly. I can't keep up.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
That's
true. Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. It was Joker Year One, which I still can't believe is over.
Yeah.
It kind of just came and went. Um, I don't know. I can't drop Batman though.
You
I
say
feel
it.
like I feel
Say
like
it.
I'd feel so guilty if I dropped
I
Batman.
think genuinely the only book that I can't drop is Flash. I think anything else, even though there's some that are unlikely that I drop, anything's liable.
I for so long I thought Green Lantern. I thought there was no way I was gonna drop it, and then
Right.
that
I
I
mean,
kind
I
of
thought
tuned
there was
out.
no way I would drop Nightwing, but during the Rick Grayson shit, I was like, yeah, fuck this.
It's weird, huh? Yeah, I don't think I could ever drop Flash. I think that's just there's no way.
You made it
Um,
through, Venditti and the New 52. You made it through, the what was the ice one, the cold, endless winter. Like you can make it
yeah.
through. Future state,
Uh,
like you can do anything.
do you remember when we thought Kevin Shinnick was like going to be on the book for like a long time? And it was like
Yeah,
just an arc.
he did the one arc.
Yeah,
And I mean, it was a
that's
good
cool
arc.
though. That's cool. Yeah, it was a good arc. I don't know. I feel like Batman. I feel like I remember on a hero story a little while ago, Tyler was saying like I don't know what he said exactly, but it's just kind of like I just want to read Batman. Like I don't even care if it's like, eh. You're a little more critical, but like because I honestly and I was telling I think I was telling forget who I was telling, but I feel like you're not really a Batman fan if you really like break it down. Like you're not
That's
a
not
big
true.
Batman fan.
That's not true. I love Batman. Batman's obviously my most read character on Comic Geeks. There's I love Batman. Chuck Dixon in the '90s, 2000s Batman, 2010s Batman. Like I love Batman. I just think recent times the Bat family has expanded too much, and I just haven't been interested in the book, as much.
You're not like a completionist though.
No, I don't need to be a completionist because I'm already a completionist for Flash, and I'm trying to get there on
Yeah.
Green Lantern. Right now, I'm chugging along through Judd Winnick, Green Lantern. So I'm trying to connect, so I can have all the way from 1990 to present day.
Yeah.
Which means I have to
It's
finish. Which means I have to finish out Grant Morrison. But let's see.
yeah. Wait, you didn't read Morrison? You didn't finish Morrison?
I read the first 10 issues and then the annual, and then I gave up.
Of what was that? The
Green Lantern
Green
season
Lantern.
one.
Oh yeah, Green Lantern. Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking Batman. I was like, I know you've read all of Morrison's Batman.
Yeah, no, I read all of Morrison's Batman.
Um, I feel like Morrison's Green Lantern. It's like almost like an Elseworld kind of. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh,
even.
sorry. I read the first 8 issues of Green Lantern season one. So there's still 9, 10, 11, and 12 from season one. And they did 12 issues of season two. So all of season two, good God. Couldn't do it.
I feel like if Morrison came back and they were like, "Yep, Morrison's gonna do Flash," you'd be like, "Oh,
I mean, I like Grant Morrison Flash from the 90s.
yeah." But I've always kind of like it's weird because like at that time it was like Morrison and Mark Millar, and I kind of like I read that in trade, so like I kind of don't know where it starts with Morrison and ends with Millar. Like it's kind of
I mean, technically they contribute on like all the Black Flash issues together, but yeah, who knows how much was actually written by both.
I would love to talk to both of them and just ask. Like I feel like no interview I've ever watched with either of them
Asked
has
about their
been
Flash.
never, and I feel like you and I would be the only people that would actually care enough to ask.
Black Flash. I talked to Pop Mon, who did the art for the Black Flash stuff when I met him at a con last year, and he said like it was fun stuff. Like he loved drawing the Black Flash. He thought Black Flash was cool. He said he was mad that he didn't get any credit when CW did Black Flash. Like his name
Yeah,
didn't credits, but yeah.
that's interesting. It's weird how now they give credits to like everybody.
Yeah.
Like, are you watching X Men? Well, you're not an X Men fan. X
Come
Men
on now.
'97.
You knew the answer to that before you even asked it.
Well, I like how like at the end of that, like they like put like everybody, like anybody that had contributed to any of the storylines or characters in that,
Right.
they included them, which is cool. But
Right.
but anyways, man, this has been great. I'm glad we finally could get you on. It's just a shame we didn't
Yeah.
get Jeremy on here.
Yeah, you never know when I'll be available again, and maybe one to line up with me, you and Germ.
Yeah, you're always welcome back, man. You
We'll
know
get
that.
we'll get Cy Spurrier on the call. Why not?
I've tried to get a hold of him, but
Yeah, no,
I,
no
I've
dice.
yeah, but maybe eventually. I'd actually have a lot of questions.
Yeah, no, I would be interested in being on that interview because I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, man. Appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, thanks for having me.